Did you know there's an angel in the Bible who rules over a swarm of demonic locusts? From ancient texts to apocalyptic visions, this is the truth behind Abaddon, heaven's strongest or hell's deadliest. When we think of the ultimate villain in the Bible, Satan usually comes to mind. But there's another figure just as terrifying, Abaddon. His name comes from the Hebrew word Abaddon, meaning to be lost or to perish. In the Old Testament, Abaddon is described as a place of destruction, often linked to Sheol, the realm of the dead. But in the New Testament, Abaddon is personified as a powerful entity ruling over the abyss. Abaddon makes only a few appearances in the Old Testament, but each mention is loaded with meaning. He shows up in the books of Job, Proverbs, and Psalms, always associated with destruction and the underworld. In the book of Job, Abaddon represents a realm of total destruction. Job 26:6 says, "Sheol is naked before God, and Abaddon has no covering." Here, Job is emphasizing God's omniscience, pointing out that even the most hidden places like Sheol and Abaddon are fully visible to him. This shows the immense gap between human understanding and divine knowledge. In Job 28:22, Abaddon is personified alongside death. Abaddon and death say, "We have heard a rumor of it with our ears." This suggests that both death and destruction are aware of divine wisdom, showing how impossible it is for humans to fully grasp it. By chapter 31, Job is desperate to prove his innocence. He declares that if he had committed sins, then severe punishments, as harsh as the fires of Abaddon, would be justified. This reference to Abaddon as a place of scorching fire emphasizes its connection to extreme punishment and suffering. In Psalms 88:11, the psalmist cries out, "Is your steadfast love declared in the grave, or your faithfulness in Abaddon?" This paints Abaddon as a place of darkness and despair, raising the question of whether God's love can reach even into the depths of such destruction. Proverbs 15:11 adds to this by saying, "Sheol and Abaddon lie open before the Lord. How much more the hearts of men?" This verse shows God's omniscience, suggesting that if He can see into the darkest realms, He can certainly see into the hearts of men. Proverbs 27:20 gives us another perspective. Sheol and Abaddon are never satisfied, and never satisfied are the eyes of man. This suggests that Abaddon, like human desires, is insatiable and constantly consuming, emphasizing the never-ending nature of destruction and the endless cycle of sin and punishment. In the New Testament, Abaddon transforms from a place of destruction into a powerful being. In the book of Revelation, he is described as the angel of the abyss and the king of a swarm of demonic locusts. In Revelation 9:1-11, John describes a dramatic vision of the end times. A star falls from heaven to earth and is given the key to the abyss. When the abyss is opened, smoke and demonic locusts pour out. These locusts are commanded to torment those who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads for 5 months. The torment is so intense that people will seek death but will not find it. Revelation 9:11 identifies the king of these locusts. They have as a king over them the angel of the abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek he is called Apollyon. Both names mean destroyer, showing his role as a bringer of divine judgment. The imagery here is incredibly vivid and terrifying. The locusts are described as resembling horses prepared for battle, with crowns of gold, faces like human faces, hair like women's hair, teeth like lions' teeth, and breastplates of iron. Their wings sound like the thundering of many horses and chariots rushing into battle, and they have tails with stingers like scorpions. This apocalyptic vision underscores the immense power and dread associated with Abaddon. There's a lot of debate about whether Abaddon is purely evil or if he's actually an instrument of God's will. When Abaddon is unleashed after the fifth trumpet in Revelation, it suggests he might be carrying out God's judgment rather than acting on his own. Some scholars even think God created Abaddon to serve his purposes, blurring the lines between a divine servant and demonic entity. In some views, Abaddon is seen as an extension of God's wrath, sent to execute divine judgment. This fits with the broader themes in Revelation, where God's control over both good and evil is clear. Thinking of Abaddon as a tool of divine justice rather than an independent demonic force adds depth to his character and his role in the apocalyptic story. Abaddon's dual nature as both a place of destruction and a powerful being makes him a complex figure in biblical symbolism. In the Old Testament, Abaddon as an abyss of annihilation is a stark reminder of the consequences of sin and separation from God. In the New Testament, Abaddon as the angel of the abyss during the end times highlights the severity of God's final judgment. Theologically, Abaddon symbolizes the unavoidable nature of divine justice. His role as a destroyer and tormentor in the end times serves as a reminder of the seriousness of God's judgment. The fact that Abaddon appears in both the Old and New Testaments shows a continuity in the concept of divine retribution and the ultimate fate of the wicked. The symbolism around Abaddon is rich and layered. In the Old Testament, Abaddon as a place of destruction is a powerful metaphor for the ultimate fate of those who turn away from God. In the New Testament, Abaddon as a fearsome angel of destruction adds a dramatic and personal element to the apocalyptic vision. The imagery of locusts that torment but don't kill shows the nature of divine punishment, intense and unavoidable, yet controlled and intentional. If you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. So, is Abaddon's heaven's strongest weapon or hell's deadliest force? The answer isn't straightforward. On one hand, Abaddon's destructive power and association with the abyss align him with hell's forces. On the other hand, his actions in Revelation suggests he is fulfilling God's judgment, positioning him as an agent of divine wrath. Imagine Abaddon standing at the gates of the abyss, his power radiating with an intensity that shakes the very foundations of hell. He commands legions of locusts, ready to unleash torment on the unsealed. Yet his presence in Revelation indicates a divine purpose, suggesting he might be an executor of God's judgment. This dual role makes Abaddon a symbol of the terrifying aspect of divine justice, a reminder that God's power extends even into the darkest realms of existence. Abaddon embodies the ultimate consequences of sin and the inescapable reach of divine judgment. Whether he is a servant of heaven or a force of hell, his presence in the Bible serves as a powerful symbol of the intricate and often fearsome nature of divine retribution. Comparing Abaddon with other biblical features of destruction helps us understand his unique role. For instance, while Satan is often depicted as the ultimate adversary of God and humanity, Abaddon seems to operate more as an executor of divine judgment rather than a rebel. This distinction is crucial for understanding the broader theological framework within which Abaddon exists. He isn't just a rogue force of chaos. He's part of a divine plan which adds a layer of complexity to his character. Interestingly, Gnostic texts present Abaddon in a different light. In these texts, Abaddon is also known as Muriel, is depicted as a guardian of humanity and a conduit between man and God. This portrayal contrasts sharply with the traditional view of Abaddon as a purely destructive force. It suggests that early interpretations of Abaddon were diverse and multifaceted, reflecting different theological perspectives and cultural influences. In the Apocalypse of Bartholomew, Abaddon is described as being present in the tomb of Jesus during his resurrection. This adds another layer to his complex character, suggesting that Abaddon, while often associated with destruction, also plays a role in the divine plan of salvation and redemption. This interpretation shows the idea that Abaddon, far from being a one-dimensional figure of doom, has a multifaceted role in the spiritual narrative. And that's it for today's exploration of Abaddon, the enigmatic figure of destruction. If you learned a lot from this video, make sure to click on the next video for more figures from Christianity.